This is Plant-Based Briefing, Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's what you need to know, Part 1, by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. And I'm Marian Erickson. This is the Curated Content Plant-Based Podcast, where I narrate a variety of articles on healthy, compassionate, and sustainable living in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. Today's episode's a bit longer than that, so it's a two-parter. I'll read Part 1 today and Part 2 tomorrow. And I'm pleased to have permission from Forks Over Knives to share their content. So now let's get to today's Plant-Based Briefing. Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's what you need to know, Part 1, by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. Affecting 24 million people nationwide, autoimmune diseases can severely impact a person's quality of life. More than 80 conditions, including lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and type 1 diabetes, fall under the umbrella of autoimmune diseases, and while most of them have no cure, simple lifestyle changes can make symptoms more manageable. What are autoimmune diseases? Your autoimmune system plays a critical role in protecting your body against infection and disease. In autoimmune diseases, an unknown trigger causes the immune system to produce antibodies that, rather than fight infections and ward off diseases, attack the body's own tissue. The following list comprises just a few of the vast number of known autoimmune diseases. Inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD. Approximately 3.1 million American adults have been diagnosed with IBD, an umbrella term for ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Both conditions are characterized by chronic inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract, whereas Crohn's disease can affect any part of the GI tract, ranging from the mouth to the anus. Ulcerative colitis occurs in the large intestine and rectum. Common symptoms for both include fatigue, weight loss, persistent diarrhea, abdominal pain, and bloody stools or rectal bleeding. Lupus. There are several types of lupus, including the most commonly diagnosed form, systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, which accounts for 70% of the approximately 1.5 million Americans affected. The disease attacks healthy tissues and cells, causing damage to much of the body, including the heart, lungs, blood vessels, skin, joints, and brain. Symptoms differ from person to person, but the most common include pain and swelling in joints, swollen glands, muscle pain, tiredness, hair loss, red rashes, often producing a butterfly pattern on the face, pale or purple fingers and toes, unexplained fever, chest pain while taking a deep breath, and photosensitivity. Multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis affects 400,000 people in the U.S., with related healthcare costs as high as $52,244 per patient per year. Affecting the brain and spinal cord, this central nervous system disease causes damage to the myelin sheath that surrounds and protects nerve cells. That damage interferes with the brain's communication with the body. As a result, people with multiple sclerosis experience symptoms that include muscle weakness, impaired coordination and balance, feelings of numbness or prickling as if walking on pins and needles, visual disturbances, and cognition and memory problems. Psoriasis. Affecting approximately 8.1 million Americans, psoriasis causes itchy or sore patches of thick red skin with silvery scales. These so-called plaques commonly appear on the face, scalp, elbows, knees, back, palms, and feet. However, they can also show up on other parts of the body. Psoriasis occurs when an overactive immune system accelerates the growth of skin cells, taking just days to produce the number of cells that would normally take a month. There's not enough time for skin cells to shed. Instead, the cells pile up on the skin's surface. More than 33% of those with psoriasis may also develop a condition called psoriatic arthritis, a condition marked by stiffness and pain in the joints and surrounding affected areas. Rheumatoid arthritis. Not to be confused with osteoarthritis, the more common arthritis that often presents itself in older age, rheumatoid arthritis can start at any age and affects approximately 1.3 million Americans. Characterized by joint stiffness, particularly in the mornings, this chronic condition typically occurs when the immune system generates excess inflammation that is sent to the joints and produces pain and swelling. But rheumatoid arthritis can also affect the eyes, mouth, and lungs. Type 1 diabetes. Formerly known as juvenile diabetes, type 1 diabetes affects approximately 1.84 million Americans. In this chronic condition, the body attacks cells that produce insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar. Eventually, no more of these cells are left, and the body cannot produce insulin. High blood sugar is responsible for the disease's primary signs and symptoms, which include fatigue, excessive thirst, frequent urination, blurred vision, tingling or loss of feeling in the hands and feet, and weight loss. Autoimmune disease risk factors. While the exact causes of autoimmune diseases remain unknown, researchers point to the following noted risk factors, which may occur alone or in combination with others. Your genes. Autoimmune diseases tend to run in families. However, the gene inheritance pattern is typically unknown. Your sex. Women make up 78% of those affected by autoimmune diseases. Having another autoimmune disease. Roughly 1/4 of autoimmune disease patients have multiple autoimmune syndrome, an accumulation of 3 or more autoimmune conditions. Some viruses. Influenza A viruses, measles, and hepatitis C are among the viruses that may trigger the development of autoimmune diseases. Some medications. Certain blood pressure medications, statins, and antibiotics can induce conditions such as autoimmune hepatitis and drug-induced lupus erythematosus. Smoking. Tobacco smoking has been linked to multiple autoimmune diseases. And obesity. More than 10 autoimmune diseases are known to be associated with being overweight or obese. Research suggests that obesity may promote inflammation while reducing the body's ability to recognize its own antigens as a non-threat when responding to foreign substances. You just listened to Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's What You Need to Know, Part 1 by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. Tune in tomorrow for the second half of this article, where you'll hear how diet affects autoimmune diseases and you'll hear about some real-life success stories. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.